There is a prison you live inside every day, but it has no walls, no guards, no gates.
Because the prison is not physical, it's emotional, it's vibrational. It's the frequency your body is calibrated to without your permission.
Darius J. says it better than anyone. Realm 1 isn't a location, it's a gravitational field, a frequency that keeps your consciousness close to the ground.
And here's the part almost nobody sees. You're not trapped because something is holding you in. You're trapped because the field you're standing on keeps pulling you back down.
Imagine you're in a video game. You run, you jump, you try to fly. But the moment you gain altitude,
the ground pulls you back like a magnet. And the ground? It's not made of stone.
It's made of old fear, old memory, old survival reflexes that your body still believes are real.
This isn't psychology. This is physics, emotional physics. The frequency of Realm 1 is low, and everything calibrated to it stays low.
And here's the twist you're not expecting.
You don't feel fear because you thought something scary. You think something scary because fear entered your body first.
The fall happens before the thought. The body collapses the field, and only then the mind rushes in with explanations. I'm tired. This isn't the right moment. I should check my phone. I suddenly feel anxious.
Your nervous system is the writer. Your mind is just the narrator who arrives late to the script.
But here's the most important part, the part this entire expose is built on.
If fear collapses the field before thought, what would happen if you learned to notice the collapse before the mind explains it?
If you could read the script before acting the fall?
Today, we're going to show you exactly that. How the invisible prison pulls you back into Realm 1. How it tricks you into thinking you're choosing it.
And more importantly,
how to break that pull long enough for your awareness to rise and stay risen.
Because the moment you see how the prison works, the moment you truly see it, the prison loses its power.
Stay until the end. The final technique is the one Darius says is the first real step towards safe and stable out-of-body exploration.
This is not self-help. This is a dimensional expose.
Let's start.
Let's dismantle the first illusion. You think fear starts in the mind. You think a thought appears and then you feel something. But that's not what happens. That's not what ever happens. Here's the real sequence. The one Darius says is the first crack in the first realm. The field drops first. The body reacts second. The mind invents a story third.
But because the mind speaks in words, and the body speaks in electricity, you only notice the words.
It's like the body collapses the frequency and the mind rushes in to narrate the collapse as if it was its idea.
Imagine a movie where the actor slips on a banana peel and the narrator says, "I meant to do that." That's you. That's the mind. That's the prison talking.
Let's make this even clearer. Think about the last time you felt sudden doubt. It felt like the thought came first, right? What if this doesn't work? What if I fail? Maybe I'm not ready. I'll start tomorrow.
But the doubt wasn't the beginning. It was the explanation. The beginning was the microscopic drop in the emotional field. A drop so fast, your conscious mind didn't catch it.
Your nervous system detected risk, even if no risk was present, and triggered an ancient program.
The collapse now, justify later program.
This is why the prison is invisible. You don't see the collapse. You only see the justification.
Let's give you an example the mind can't escape from. You've had a moment of inspiration, right? A moment where you suddenly felt light, clear, awake.
And within seconds, not minutes, seconds, you felt a drop, discomfort, confusion, a sudden desire to check your phone, fatigue out of nowhere.
That wasn't laziness. It wasn't distraction. It wasn't lack of discipline.
It was the gravitational pull of Realm 1. Your body pulled you down, and then your mind said, I think I'm tired.
Plot twist. You're almost never tired. You're almost always collapsing. And when you understand this, when you truly see the collapse happen, you start catching it before the narrative takes over.
And this is where the real investigation starts. Because if the field falls before thought, then rising is also possible before thought.
Which means your consciousness can lift before the mind knows how to explain it.
We're going to show you how. But first, we need to expose the next mechanism, the one that keeps you choosing the familiar prison over the unfamiliar freedom.
Here comes the part people hate hearing, and the part that finally makes everything make sense. Your body is addicted to predictable pain.
Not consciously, not intentionally, but biologically, yes. Your nervous system would rather relive the same discomfort every day than step into the unknown freedom of a new emotional frequency.
Because to the survival system, unknown means danger. Even if the unknown is peace, even if the unknown is joy, even if the unknown is awakening.
This is the paradox of Realm 1. You don't stay because you're weak. You stay because the prison feels safer than freedom.
Picture this. A prisoner spends 20 years locked in a tiny cell. One day, the guard opens the door and says, "Go, you're free."
Do you know what happens next? Most prisoners freeze. Some step back inside. Some beg to stay. Why? Because they don't know the rules outside the cell.
Your emotional body is exactly the same. It knows how to live in fear. It knows how to operate in contraction. It knows the language of Realm 1.
Expansion, elevation, calmness, open awareness, these are foreign languages.
Biologically, this is energy economy. The nervous system prefers the familiar circuit, even if it hurts.
Emotionally, this is self-protection turned into self-sabotage.
And spiritually, this is the gravitational glue of Realm 1.
This is why your biggest dream can make you feel tired, and your smallest fear can keep you wide awake.
This is why people say they want to change, but the moment they feel the frequency rise, they unconsciously pull themselves back down.
Because the body whispers, "Don't go there. We don't know that place."
And here's the shocking part. It's not just that your body avoids freedom, it actually defends the prison.
Yes, if freedom feels unfamiliar, your system treats it like a threat. Hope feels unsafe. Peace feels suspicious. Stillness feels dangerous. Expansion feels overwhelming.
This is why Darius says, you don't break Realm 1 with willpower. You break it by rising above the emotional frequency that feeds it.
And that rise starts with recognizing the trap. The body chooses predictable pain over unpredictable liberation.
Once you see that, the prison loses one of its greatest weapons, your unawareness.
But awareness alone isn't enough. You need to understand how the dimensional lock works, how Realm 1 snaps you back even when your consciousness tries to ascend.
Because the next mechanism, it's not just powerful, it's ancient.
And once you understand it, you'll realize you were never fighting your mind.
You were fighting gravity.
Now we enter the heart of the exposé, the part of the investigation where things stop being psychological and start becoming dimensional.
Because if Realm 1 is not a place, but a gravitational field, then the question becomes, what exactly is pulling you down?
And this is where Darius J. gives us the key. A concept so simple and yet so disruptive that once you understand it, Realm 1 can never fool you the same way again. He calls it
The dimensional lock.
The dimensional lock is what happens when your emotional frequency is lower than your conscious awareness is trying to rise to. Think of it like trying to take off in a plane while your wings are tied to the runway by invisible ropes.
Or trying to leave Earth's gravity with a rocket that's filled with sandbags.
No matter how much thrust awareness generates, if the emotional body is heavy, you rise only a few feet and crash back down.
The dimensional lock is not mental resistance. It's not lack of focus. It's not a mindset issue. It's vibrational mismatch.
Your awareness tries to move to a higher dimensional frequency, but your emotional body is calibrated to a lower one, so the system locks. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because the frequencies don't match.
Let's put it in simple physics. To move to realm 2 or realm 3, you don't need more thought. You need less gravitational fear.
This is why people meditate for years and stay stuck. Why they visualize and never manifest. Why they read spiritual books but don't ascend. Why they try OBE techniques and get pulled back instantly.
Because the emotional field, not the mind, determines the realm.
Darius says, awareness rises when emotion rises. Awareness collapses when fear returns.
Meaning, you can't think yourself out of realm 1. You have to feel your way out.
And here's a revelation that shocks most people. You don't need higher thoughts. You don't need spiritual knowledge. You don't need intense practices.
You need a lighter field. That's it. It sounds too simple because we were taught the wrong door.
It's not mental discipline that breaks the dimensional lock. It's emotional recalibration.
Think of it like tuning a radio. If you want to hear the station broadcasting higher consciousness, you don't scream at the radio. You turn the dial.
But here's the twist. Your dial is not in your mind. It's in your emotional body.
And the moment your frequency rises, even a little, you slip between the bars of the prison.
But how do you know if you're still locked in, even if you think you've grown?
There are signs, clear ones, consistent ones, and once you see them, you can't unsee them.
Let's expose them, one by one.
If the dimensional lock is real, and it is, then there must be a way to recognize when you're trapped inside it.
And the signs are everywhere. They show up in your emotions, your reactions, your decisions, your timing. But you were trained to call them normal.
Today, we break that illusion. Because once you recognize the signature of Realm 1, you'll never confuse it with you again. Sign number 1. Your body reacts before your thoughts.
This is the number 1 sign, and the one almost nobody catches. A drop in the field happens first. A tightness, a pressure in the chest, a micro freeze in the stomach, and then the thought appears.
If your body collapses before your mind explains it, you're not deciding. You're being pulled. This is the gravitational hand of Realm 1. Sign number 2. Inspiration makes you tired.
This shocks people every time. You get excited, you feel a rise, you get clarity, and within seconds, you're exhausted. You think it's overthinking, you think it's burnout, you think you're sensitive.
But no, it's a field collapse reflex. Realm 1 sends an emotional sedative to bring you back down.
Your exhaustion is not real. Your collapse is.
Sign number 3. You sabotage the moment things start working.
Right before growth becomes real, right before you finally rise, fear whispers, "Leave it for later." Something feels off. You're rushing. You're not ready.
This is not intuition. This is the prison pulling the alarm system. Realm 1 specializes in emotional brake reflexes. Sign number 4. You prefer predictable pain over uncertain freedom.
This is brutal, but true. You unconsciously choose the stress you know over the peace you've never met.
Hope feels unsafe. Possibility feels overwhelming. Joy feels suspicious. Stillness feels unfamiliar.
This is the emotional biology of captivity. If the field doesn't recognize the frequency, it rejects it.
Sign number 5. You feel unsafe when life goes well.
This is one of the deepest signs of all. Things improve, your energy rises, your vision sharpens, your path clears, and suddenly you feel exposed, vulnerable, on edge, too open.
Because your system learned safety through contraction, not expansion. You're not afraid of falling. You're afraid of flying.
These 5 signs aren't mistakes. They're messages. They are the fingerprints of Realm 1 gripping your field.
But now that you've seen them, really seen them, you're ready for the next part of the exposé.
Because some people escaped, not because they fought harder, but because they learned something critical.
How to rise without triggering the prison alarms.
It's time to open the case files.
Every prison leaves traces. Every escape leaves clues.
And if Realm 1 is a dimensional prison, then the people who escaped it are not lucky. They're prototypes.
Not chosen, not special, just the first ones to notice the mechanisms we're exposing today.
We studied dozens of cases. We narrowed them down to the ones that reveal the clearest patterns, the ones that show you exactly where your exit might be hiding. Here are 3 of the most powerful.
Case File 1. The almost OBE woman. She always got vibrations, but never left her body.
She spent 3 years practicing OBE techniques. She hit the vibrational state hundreds of times, but every single time, right at the edge, a wave of panic hit her chest.
She thought she was afraid of leaving her body, but she wasn't. She was afraid of losing control.
Her childhood taught her one thing: safety is control. Losing control is danger.
So right when she approached the separation point, her emotional field collapsed. Realm 1 pulled her back with a fear spike.
What changed everything? Not more practice, not a new technique, not breathing exercises.
It was one realization. Panic is not a sign to stop. It's a sign that my frequency is rising faster than my body recognizes.
She learned to expand the emotional window, to breathe into the fear instead of pulling back.
Within a week, she had her first successful OBE, not because she became stronger, but because she became lighter.
Case File 2. The Self-Sabotager. He mistook field collapse for fatigue.
He was the classic almost awakened person. He consumed spiritual content, meditated, did breathwork, took courses, listened to Darius.
But every time he felt inspiration, every time he touched clarity, he crashed. He felt tired, heavy, sleepy.
He thought it was burnout, lack of sleep, mental overload. But no, it was the Realm 1 sedation response.
Your system sedates you when you get too close to rising. It's a biological tranquilizer designed to keep you predictable.
His breakthrough came when he started using the 3-breath elevation. 3 slow breaths, up the spine on the inhale, down the front on the exhale.
In 10 days, this single practice stopped 70% of his emotional collapses. Once the sedation stopped, his intuition returned, his clarity stabilized, his OBE attempts finally progressed.
He didn't get stronger. His prison got quieter.
Case File 3. The Depressed Woman. She wasn't depressed, she was compressed.
She described herself as heavy, stuck, numb. Life felt like static, like nothing moved. Years of therapy helped, but didn't free her.
When she found Darius, she learned something that cracked everything open. You're not depressed. Your frequency is compressed.
Realm 1 doesn't always feel like panic. Sometimes it feels like nothing. That numbness isn't absence, it's pressure.
She focused on raising her field by 5% a day, not healing everything at once. One micro moment of relief, one breath of space, one shift of curiosity.
After 40 days, she had the first moment of clarity she remembered in years. After 60 days, she entered her first spontaneous vibrational state.
The prison didn't fall dramatically. It eroded quietly.
This is the truth most people don't want to hear. You escape Realm 1 not by force, but by frequency.
And now that you've seen real escapes, you're ready for the most important part of the exposé: how to break the prison from inside. Quietly, deliberately, frequency first.
Here's the part almost no one understands. You don't escape Realm 1 by fighting it. You escape by outgrowing it.
And Darius says this all the time. You don't beat the realm. You raise your field so the realm can't lock onto you anymore.
Most people think awakening is a war, a battle, a heroic confrontation with fear. But Realm 1 is not a monster. It's a frequency lock.
The prison isn't solid. It's sticky. Like emotional gravity, keeping you glued to an identity that was never really yours.
The first shift, recognize the pull before it pulls you.
Realm 1 doesn't trap you with thoughts. It traps you with sensations. A heaviness in the chest, a tightening in the stomach, a sudden wave of sleepiness right when you're inspired.
Those aren't emotions, they're alarms. Alarms designed to pull your field back down before you drift too far above the fence.
So, the shift begins at the body level. Heaviness equals my field is collapsing. Sudden tiredness equals Realm 1 is sedating me. Tightness equals the lock is trying to close.
When you name the mechanism, you weaken the lock by 30%. Darius calls this dimensional identification, recognizing which realm is trying to claim you. And once you name the realm, you stop being claimed.
The second shift. Interrupt the collapse.
Most collapses happen because they're silent, invisible, automatic.
But the moment you interrupt it, the entire mechanism loses coherence.
There's a micro practice for this. Simple, fast, almost too easy.
But Realm 1 hates it.
It's called the second thought shift, not the first thought. The first one is the ghost, but the second thought, that's you.
Here's how it works. First thought, I can't. It won't work. Who do I think I am? That's the prison. Second thought, what if that's not me? That's the key.
You don't need enlightenment. You just need a 2-second delay. It's tiny, humbling, almost laughably simple. And yet, people have had OBEs because of this practice, after years of failure. Not because the technique is magical, but because the collapse finally stopped happening.
The third shift, lower the emotional weight.
You don't rise by adding more spiritual work, more meditation, more rituals. You rise by removing weight.
Imagine trying to climb a rope with 40 pounds tied to your waist. You can be strong, disciplined, motivated, but you're still not going anywhere.
So the question is not, how do I raise my frequency? The real question is, what emotional weight am I still carrying?
Sometimes that weight is resentment. Sometimes it's guilt. Sometimes it's the ghost we met in episode 1, the protector turned warden. Darius says, you don't ascend by adding wings. You ascend by cutting weights.
Tonight, before you sleep, ask yourself, what is one emotion I keep revisiting because it's familiar, not because it's true?
If you find one weight, you've already climbed one round.
The fourth shift, let curiosity replace certainty.
Realm 1 feeds on certainty. I know how this ends. I know who I am. I know what always happens.
Awakening begins the moment you ask, what if I don't?
Curiosity is not cute. It's lethal.
It breaks the lock because you momentarily step outside the identity the realm uses to hold you. Darius teaches this at every workshop. Curiosity is the first vibration of ascension.
So, when the old thought comes, the ghost whisper, try responding with interesting, not fighting it, not believing it, just observing it.
Because the moment you stop taking the ghost seriously, you rise half a realm. Half a realm is enough for the prison door to glitch.
When these 4 shifts begin working together, the prison loses its shape.
Not with drama, not with fireworks, but with quiet malfunction. A glitch, a softening, a sudden moment of clarity.
And that's when the real awakening begins. The moment you stop fighting reality and start rising above the realm that shaped it.
In the next section, we're going to show you what happens when the field finally breaks free. What it feels like, how it changes your intuition, how it upgrades your OBE access, and why Darius says this is the point where the soul remembers its coordinates.
Stay with us. We're about to cross the event horizon of this episode.
There's a moment in every awakening journey when the prison stops reacting to you. Not because you defeated it, not because you became stronger, but because your frequency no longer matches its walls.
Darius calls this moment the field disengagement point. It's the moment the realm loses your signature, like a security system that suddenly can't read your ID.
People describe it differently. A pressure releasing from the chest, a feeling of stepping behind your own eyes, a silence inside the mind. Not peace, but the absence of surveillance.
One woman described it like this: "It felt like my anxiety forgot my address." Another said, "My fear knocked, but nobody answered." And Darius? Darius says it's the moment the field becomes too light for the realm's gravity.
No ceremony, no angels, no cosmic fireworks, just detachment, a loosening, a quiet shift from being inside the emotional storm to being the one watching the clouds move.
One of Darius's students experienced this during a meditation. He felt his body sink and then suddenly rise, not upward, but outward. With perfect clarity, he described it as, "I was sitting in the room, but I wasn't sitting inside my body."
That's the threshold. The moment your awareness is no longer fused with the emotional gravity of Realm 1. You're still here, still breathing, still human. But the sticky part of you, the part that the realm grabs, is no longer inside the realm.
When people cross the threshold, we see the same 5 markers. 1. A strange neutrality, not positivity, not excitement, just space. 2. Silence where inner criticism used to live, not resolved, just irrelevant. 3. A sudden clarity about decisions you've postponed for years. It's like someone wiped the dust off the inner compass. 4. A subtle hum or vibration in the spine, not mystical, electrical. 5. The body continues its reactions, but you're not inside them anymore.
This is what Darius calls observer-anchored consciousness. The moment you relocate your awareness outside the emotional mechanism that the realm uses to hold you. And when that happens, the realm can't touch you.
Here's the part most people misunderstand. You don't leave the body by trying to leave the body. You leave by shifting your awareness outside the emotional state that holds your field inside Realm 1.
And we see this all the time. People who struggled to induce OBEs for years, breathwork, binaural beats, sleep paralysis, vibration states, finally succeeded not during a technique, but during a moment of emotional neutrality, a moment when the prison could no longer track them.
One man said, "I didn't float out, I just realized I was already outside." That's the threshold. That's the disengagement point. That's Realm 1 losing your frequency. One of the most powerful techniques taught quietly by Darius.
Try this the next time you feel emotional gravity pulling you down. The observer breath. Inhale as if your awareness lifts 2 inches behind your eyes. Hold for 2 seconds. Exhale, imagining your awareness staying there, not dropping back into the chest.
After 3 breaths, 90% of people report the same sensation. My thoughts kept moving, but I wasn't inside them anymore. That's the threshold, the slip, the frequency break.
And once you cross it, even for 10 seconds, you've already weakened Realm 1's lock on your field. Even 10 seconds counts. Even 10 seconds is training.
Here's the twist you weren't expecting. The prison only works when you agree to be the prisoner, because the bars aren't real, the walls aren't real, the limitations aren't real. Only the feeling of limitation is real.
Your field rises the moment you stop believing the sensations that were designed to hold you down, not denying them, not fighting them, just refusing to identify with them.
That's the true jailbreak. Not a breakout, a slip out.
And when you slip out, awareness lifts, intuition ignites, the OBE threshold lowers, and Darius's first realm becomes not a prison, but a launch pad.
In the final moments of this episode, we're going to give you the 3 practices that keep your field from dropping back down.
Because escaping the prison once is easy. Staying free is the real mastery.
And Darius says something powerful. No one ascends by accident. You ascend because you stop feeding the realm that owns your fear.
Stay with us. We're entering the most important part of the episode. Crossing the threshold once is a revelation, but learning to stay there, learning to stabilize the higher frequency, is the birth of a new identity.
Darius calls this stage realm drift. It's when your consciousness no longer locks into realm 1 as the default setting, but begins floating between higher states naturally. Not forced, not performed, not imagined, just lighter.
People describe the first day after a frequency break with surprising consistency, a strange quiet, a sense of possibility without pressure, a shift from inner argument to inner observation.
One woman said, "It felt like my thoughts were happening in another apartment." Another, "My anxiety tried to come back, but it felt like someone else's emotion." That's what happens when awareness no longer fuses with the body's emotional gravity. You don't fight the emotion, you simply stop becoming it.
Practice 1. Naming the drop.
Realm 1 only captures you when you fail to notice the first tiny drop, before the panic, before the doubt, before the sabotage. Just a small tilt.
Darius calls this stage realm drift. It's when your consciousness no longer locks into realm 1 as the default setting, but begins floating between higher states naturally. Not forced, not performed, not imagined, just lighter. Darius teaches students to identify the drop at the micro level. The moment you feel heaviness behind the sternum, narrowing of attention, urgency, perfectionism, compulsive phone checking, a sudden need to fix something. Pause. Name it. Field drop. Realm pull. Body gravity.
Naming creates distance. Distance creates choice. Choice increases frequency. This alone keeps people out of the old loop.
Practice 2. The 10-second recalibration.
This practice is subtle but life-changing. It's based on the idea that the body recalibrates to the most frequent emotional state, not the strongest one. So, if you give your system 10 seconds of a higher frequency, even once, you shift the baseline slightly upward.
Here's how it works. Close your eyes. Inhale through the spine. Relax the tongue. Feel behind your eyes. Whisper internally, lift. Just 10 seconds.
People who practice this 3 times a day start reporting OBE precursors without trying. Vibrational waves, ringing in the head, detached presence, hypnagogic acceleration, energetic swaying. Why? Because their field is no longer glued to realm 1.
Practice 3. The second thought.
This is the technique that surprises people most. You don't need to control your first thought. The first thought is the ghost speaking, the realm speaking, the programming speaking. But the second thought is where your freedom lives.
Darius teaches, you don't awaken by fighting your conditioning. You awaken by choosing thought number 2. First thought, I can't. I shouldn't. It won't work. It's scary. I'm not ready. Second thought, maybe I can. Let me try. What if it works? Just one step. I can lift.
The second thought is the moment when the consciousness, not the ghost, answers. And every time you choose the second thought, you're rising, you're lifting, you're moving out of the realm and into your higher field.
There's something people don't expect after breaking the prison. You don't immediately feel joyful. You feel light, clear, empty. Not numb, not dissociated, just unburdened.
Darius explains it perfectly. Happiness is a human state. Lightness is a consciousness state. The prison collapses long before the personality celebrates. The joy comes later, after the integration, after the stabilization. But the first change is always the same. You stop collapsing into your own emotions. And that is the real liberation.
This is the part people never realize. The prison wasn't just holding you. It was feeding on you, feeding on your fear, feeding on your predictability, feeding on your repetition.
And do you know what happens when you stop repeating the same emotional loops? The realm starves. It loses grip. It loses gravity. It loses your signal.
You don't escape the prison. The prison loses you. And that is the beginning of true spiritual autonomy.
In this episode, we exposed how the prison operates, not with walls or chains, but with frequency, memory, and emotional gravity.
In the next episode, we're going to reveal something deeper, the ghost's operating manual, how it predicts your weakness, how it hijacks intuition, how it collapses your field at the exact moment you try to rise.
And we'll show you the exact point where most people regress, and how Darius teaches students to navigate past it into realm 2.
Before you go, answer these 3 questions below. 1. When does your field drop the fastest? In the morning, afternoon, or at night? 2. What emotion pulls you back into realm 1 the quickest? 3. If you could lift your field for just 10 seconds today, what freedom would you taste?
Write your answers in the comments, not for us, for your own clarity, and to show the rest of the tribe that no one is walking this path alone.
If someone in your life keeps collapsing into the same emotional patterns, send this episode to them. They might be standing right at the edge of their threshold.
One share can shift a field. One field can shift a life.
Right now, you'll see 2 videos on your screen.
Choose the one that feels like the next step in your awakening, the next shift, the next lift, the next expansion.
Your exploration continues there. Your awareness doesn't stop here.
We'll meet you on the next frequency.